The Power Within the Heart by Ruben D. Garcia. If you could see what I see, if you could hear what I hear, if you could feel what I feel. Surely, every one of us have heard these and similar poignant words which are specifically declared by an individual appealing to our better nature. Simply, such thoughts and words are declarations appealing to our emotions. Still, the hardest thing for us, human beings, to swallow is to recognize, whether we wish to accept it or not, is that we are the ones responsible for our own actions, especially when our actions, words or gestures were the emotional catalyst that may have caused a disruption or alter the emotional levels of another person we regarded as a friend, a compatriot, or a beloved one. Most of the time, it is the aggressive nature of a human being that manifests and precipitates such events or scenarios in which emotional disputes becomes the norm in an already stressful world, affecting our caring and loving nature that is our divine heritage. Then, why is it that we entertain emotional poaching of other people's good nature when we have the knowledge that such activities are considered by the divine to be forbidden? The Bible clearly described that we are expected to treat others as we are expected to be treated, with kindness, compassion, and above all, understanding. But in many cases we can recognize that society does not abhor such inclinations of physical, emotional, and even in extreme cases spiritual trampling of people's feelings. This is so real in today's everyday activities such as scams, bullying, and demoning activities that are aiming straight at the heart of an individual without considering the irreversible damage it may cause. There used to be a period that such insensitive attitudes of humanity was not only acceptable but promulgated by elite individuals, societies, and some unspiritual personage via decrees or declarations to detain, restrict, and enslave human consciousness to a degree of complete control of their daily lives. But that is no longer the norm or rule for the future, because since the year 1981, what once a distant notion became a divine decree that humanity will begin a new journey in which all, that is all manifestations from any individual, will be rooted in the heart of every human being as it was originally intended. Yes, your conscious statement of the past is deteriorating rapidly, and all of the ones that once embraced such ideology and dogma is also disappearing or seeking hidden places for their once indivisible power and control is crumbling down, and the divine manifestation of unconditional love is taking roots in human consciousness, however, as the seed of spiritual freedom ordained by God, and the elevating of higher consciousness is germinating through the energy of one of the most powerful organs, the heart. Humanity has been given the chance to change. Yes, my dear friends, the spiritual conscious conceived town that once flourished on an old earth with deceptive measure of enchantment and pseudo-realities that were but mirages is quickly becoming a ghost town, and a new town on a new earth is becoming the rule of the day. Just as an acorn seed germinates unto a mighty and enduring tree, so it is humanity's newest seed of higher consciousness. But is not only the seed that does it all. Just as the seed needs soil, water, and sunlight to grow to its majestic image, the new divinely decreed consciousness requires similar necessary elements. Thus, as consciousness is ushered, it is up to each individual to determine where the seed for a new consciousness will be placed. The Bible in Luke denotes that there can be only 4 places a sower can sow his seed, and as in the case of our decree of higher consciousness by the divine, for the seed to grow to its potentials must fall on fertile ground. It is through what we believe in that denotes the success of our higher consciousness. The fertile ground with all of its nutrients and adaptability to protect the growing seed is the key, and in the ability for humanity to ascend in consciousness is not as much what we think or what we see but what we feel in our hearts. Yes, it is our hearts, the temple and refuge in which true love emanates from and where the loyalty, devotion to God resides. But it is here in our hearts that the spirit of life exists, and it is here where God's love for you has been every single life you experienced in the old earth. All that higher consciousness requires for its enactment is within you, your heart. The power of the heart is the most priceless element to a higher consciousness. It is here within every heart that goodness, compassion, caring, gentleness resides, all simply known by its true name and essence, unconditional love! This is going to be our final destination, an earth in which unconditional love reign in supremacy and never to be replaced or done away. It is this marvelous journey humanity has embarked since the year 2012 and will continue until every human being experiences unconditional love. Still, the sower, you, only you and your current consciousness can determine where you will sow your seed according to your believing nature is at. Remember what the Bible outlined when carrying spiritual sowing. Some can and will fall by the wayside, others may allow it to fall on the rocks, and another may allow it to fall on thorns. The question for the next few years and of course, right now as more and more energies arriving are activating and revitalizing our consciousness is what will you do with your divine seed you hold in your hand? Just keep this in mind as you gaze and wonder what to do with all that is unfolding. The power is in your heart. It was there since the beginning of time. Still is and is ready to be utilized. All that is needed to activate it is for you to trust and believe with all the spiritual might you can muster. For it is all real and forever will be. And so it is. Namaste.